In this video, I'll cover everything you need to know about this template. So I am inside the project file, and these three items will not show up in the project file, and these are only strictly for the purposes of this tutorial. So I made a simple composition and I've imported an image, and let's say I want to transition now to my second image. So I'll just drop this image right over here and I'll just rescale this. So let's say I want the transition to happen somewhere around this part and then transition to my second image. So let's take a look at the first transition. If I come here to my transition folder, you will have an edit folder and a render folder. The edit folder will simply be the logo container composition. So access your edit folder and access transition _1 holder, double click. And here you will simply import your logo of choice. Alright, so you would import your logo, drop it inside the composition, delete the previous logo that's there, and simply rescale, readjust, or reposition as necessary. And if you go now to your transition 1 render, alright, and this will be the render transition _1, you can see it updated here. Alright, so maybe I need to make this a little smaller. Press S for scale and rescale this, and let's go back inside my transition 1 render. Alright, so we can get a good idea of how this will look. Inside this transition 1 there will be a colors layer, and if you go to effect controls up here at the top, and if you don't have this window, just press F3. This will bring it up, and we have two controls for the lights and the flare. So if you change the lights color, you can see how this changes, and we also have a separate control for the flare in the beginning of the scene. Alright, so very easily you can adjust the color. Let's take a look. Let's go back in our comp 1. This is our test comp, and I will drop this transition 1 render inside this composition. Alright, we can make any adjustments necessary here. So let's say that here we go with the transition, and the transition should happen somewhere around this frame. And let me just readjust my clip. And we will need a mask layer in order to sort of mask out the previous layer that was so the first layer basically. So if I place this on top, alright, and I will go ahead and now drop my transition 1 mask. Alright, and let's make sure these two compositions are in sync. Alright, and if I set this first layer, if I set the Luma, the track matte, I can set it to Luma inverted matte transition 1 mask. Alright, and if I just solo this, you can see that now we are fading this out according to the logo transition. And if I unsolo this, you can see now that the clip fades into the other clip using this mask layer. Alright, so you can create this seamless transition. And actually, let's just cut this layer here where the transition ends. Alright, so make sure that this clip ends right where the transition also ends. Alright, so you get this nice smooth transition. Alright, so that's the transition 1, and let's set this back to no track, and let's delete these, and let's take a look at our transition 2. We go inside the edit folder, and the same thing here. You will just import your new logo, and then if you go to your render, you can adjust the colors as necessary. So we have a colors controls and lights. You can readjust the lights, and of course we have a flare here at the end, and you can adjust the color for that as well. Alright, so let's go back in our test comp. Let's go to project here, and let's simply drop this transition 2 on our scene. And this is a lot easier to work because it doesn't use a mask layer. This will simply fade out, and you can simply overlay the second layer. You can kind of see where the transition happens. Alright, so you can just adjust the clips and the transition itself to sort of match and have this seamless loop. Alright, so this one's a lot easier. And I think that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me using the contact form on my profile, and I'll see you later.